Hello everyone, I'm Christina, and today I'll be reviewing 3 dystopian classics. Feels a little bit weird to finally be back filming. I haven't filmed a video in 2.5 months. I haven't uploaded in 3 months. I am going to get back on it once school is finished, but I just need to get through it right now. But this video is for a school project on existentialism, and for it we had to read some books. One of the best ways to convey how I think about books and the themes in books is to talk to you. Talk to YouTube, talk to BookTube, review how I know best. So first off, I just want to do a quick little thing on dystopia. I've been a dystopic reader pretty much since The Hunger Games was a thing. It wasn't my first dystopia. My first dystopia was Uglies by Scott Westerfeld, but I'm still not super crazy about that book, so it kind of made me not want to read dystopia. And then I read Hunger Games and it changed my opinion on it quite a bit. Nowadays, my favorite dystopias are things like Shatter Me, and I love Matched, and The Ones Over There, and that's the third book in my favorite dystopian series. I've read a ton of dystopia. There's a ton of dystopia up here. I absolutely love the genre, but I hadn't read the classics of it. I'm not a huge classics reader. So when this opportunity came up to read some of the most influential books in the progression of dystopic fiction, I jumped at the opportunity to do it. I started off by reading Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. It was probably my favorite out of the 3. Probably one of my new favorite classics that I've read. I really, really liked it. I think everyone should read it because it really makes you think about books and censorship and all those things and just how important all of this actually is. Like, I don't know what my life would be like if it wasn't for all this stuff behind me. So it really hit home for me that way, to see how protective he was of reading. And I was very happy that he was choosing that path. And I'm a strict rule follower. I love my rules, and I just couldn't live in that society. I felt the dystopian world was really well developed. It wasn't a science fiction dystopic world. It seemed like it could happen any day now. And sometimes those dystopias are really good because they really make you think about the world you're living in now. When it comes to classics, writing style tends to be the thing that really lowers it for me. I just don't like the majority of writing styles the majority of classics are written in. Now, this book was published the most modern of the 3 I read, and that is probably why I enjoyed it the most. It had the most modern writing style to it. Next up, I read Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. It's much older than Fahrenheit 451, and I could feel how much older it was, and it wasn't my favorite. It was the least favorite of the 3 I read. I thought it had a really strong start. I loved the first 2 chapters. When we got introduced to the world, I was like, oh, this is going to be really cool. And then more and more characters were introduced, and I didn't really care for them. And I just didn't connect to any of the characters, and I can't enjoy a novel if I don't feel sad when characters do things or feel happy when characters do things. And this book ends traumatically, and I didn't even feel the trauma at all. And the last one, I read 1984 by George Orwell. And I read Animal Farm last summer because of Ariel Bissett and the Booktubeathon, and in honor of her running it all, and I really, really liked it. I did enjoy 1984. It wasn't as strong for me as Animal Farm was. Animal Farm is something that really stands out to me in the world of classics. That one and Fahrenheit 451 are probably the best ones I've read. But it did have George Orwell's writing style, which isn't my favorite, but I can get through it without feeling totally bogged down by it. I became really invested in these characters and their relationship, probably the most out of all 3, which I really, really enjoyed. I love it when I get fully invested in not only the characters themselves, but when they're in a relationship and I become so invested in them ending up together. It's one of my most enjoyable parts about reading. And I truly hope that all 3 of these features are not for us. But that's one of the coolest things about dystopias. Like, dystopic literature kind of evolved through people wanting to escape. It really took off during World War II and the Cold War, and then 9/11 happened, and now we're dealing with the War on Terror, and it's really helped feed this need to think about other worlds, and more than what fantasy's done too. When I read dystopia, I can escape while reading it, but when I'm done, I truly think about the actual world we're living in a lot more, and that's what I enjoy about it. The theme of this project is existentialism, and existentialism is quite a broad philosophy. One of the main concepts of existentialism is the anti-authority side of it and the going with your own morals, paving your own path in life. And these three books definitely push this. Fahrenheit 451, which is quite obvious in its way of the character going through his own morals. He believes it's morally wrong to burn down people's houses with them in it just to burn down a bunch of books. And he thinks it's morally wrong to burn down all this knowledge. And he's been told, no, you have to do this. This is how the world works now. And he won't accept it. So he goes off and he defies it. And he lives his life by his own moral. Brave New World is about their society's taboo topics. They're not the same as ours, because in like that book, saying things like mother and father are considered very, very inappropriate words to say. But we have our own things you can't talk about publicly in our society. So it kind of branches over from that. And a lot of the characters follow their own moral, and so much so that the traumatic events at the end of the book are because the character couldn't live with things he did during the book. This character was severely criticized by society and by the regime for kind of being who he was and deciding what he was going to do in his own life. So he took control of his own life by ending his own life. 1984 is a book that the majority of the world sees as an anti-regime book. And it is. The point of the book, a lot of it, is about Big Brother and how it's watching you, and everything that we believe in that society, it's flipped. You know, war is peace. The relationship that the two main characters had was also against society and against the regime, and they went along with it because morally they believed they had the right to be together, and they loved each other, and they deserved to be together. I was all for it the whole time. You have to do some severe brainwashing, and you can truly see how messed up the world is. The world was trying to be more protecting, and that backfired. This theme of authority is quite a common theme. You can look at films like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is a book-to-movie adaptation. It's very anti-authority, so it has strong existential parts in it. It really is about what the people thought was right, their own morals, and them choosing what was right and what was wrong, and not what authority said was right and what was wrong. I think these books are books that people should try and read. I would definitely encourage the readings of 1984 and Fahrenheit 451. I wasn't as crazy about Brave New World, but I can see why it's still really important, and especially if you are a lover of modern dystopia, it's really worth it to go back and see kind of the roots of it. And I think, you know, like, if you truly love a genre, you should be able to trace it back. And I'm very happy that I've learned so much about dystopia by doing this. And I've learned quite a bit about existentialism as well, and looking at anti-authority and following your own morals. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.